YouTube, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. Just want to thank you for checking out the new video and also for all that amazing support and for being the best damn community here on YouTube, without a doubt. So stackers all march to the beat of their own drums. Some stick with one type of silver like generics or government-backed like Eagles and Maples, and others stack a mix of both. And then there are those who buy it all, and we call those folks stack collectors. I pretty much fall into that category these days since I've stacked most of my weight in generics, Eagles, Maples, Britannias, bars, and others. There really isn't a right or wrong way to stack as long as it works for you and you stick to your plan and your budget. You'll hear some out there talking about stacking weight only, since that's the definition of true stacking. For example, buying the most weight at the lowest cost possible. But that doesn't work for everyone. It just doesn't. It doesn't work for me either. I think a much bigger majority of the stackers out there like to mix things up and keep it interesting. Now, there's one segment of silver that stackers either love or loathe. There doesn't seem to be any kind of in-between when it comes down to it for this silver. And to me, that's just not fair, because I think it's an amazing segment to stack. So, what is it? What scares stackers into avoiding this silver? Well, I'm going to cover that today and a lot more, so make sure you stay tuned.
And here we go.
All right, no beating around the bush. Let's just jump right into it. The silver I'm talking about today is... Yep, 90% silver, constitutional, or junk silver, or pre-65 silver. On that note, I'm not sure why a lot of folks refer to 90% as pre-64, because that would indicate that coins before 1964 were made of silver. And that completely wipes out the 1964 year of silver coins that came out.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Just a little tidbit that always gets to me for some reason. Anyway. Yes, 90% silver. To me, it's one of the most underrated types of silver you can add to your stack. And in today's video, I'm going to do a really quick intro to the coins. And then we'll go over the pros and cons of this historical silver. And that's exactly what it is. It's historical. And why you should or shouldn't add this stuff to your stack. So let's kick off a quick segment on which coins fall into this group. And we'll start off with silver dollars. Now, Morgans are on the left, peace dollars on the right. These contain 0.7735 ounces of silver, so just over 3/4 of an ounce per coin. Morgans on the left ran from 1878 to 1904 and came back for 1 year in 1921. Peace dollars ran from 1921 to 1928 and again from 1934 to 1935. Next up is half dollars. Barbers on the left. We'll start on the left. Those ran from 1892 to 1915. Then you had the Walking Liberty from 1916 to 1947. And those tend to be collector favorites or stacker favorites. Everybody loves the walkers. Then you had Franklin's from 1948 to 1963. And for 1 year only, 1964, Kennedy halves were made of 90% silver. Now we're up to quarters. You got a Barber quarter on the left. That ran from 1892 to 1916. Then you've got a Standing Liberty, 1916 to 1930. And, of course, the modern-day Washington quarter, 1932 to 1964. These contain 0.1808 ounces of silver. And lastly, silver dimes, my favorite. Dimes have 0.0723 ounces of silver in them. On the left, you've got the Barber that ran from 1892 to 1916. You got the Mercury, or appropriately, it's supposed to be the Winged Liberty dime, from 1916 to 1945. And, of course, the Roosevelts ran from 1945 to 1964 in silver form. And 1965 to present day, they're still around. They're just not made of silver. And that is 90% silver in a nutshell. Now, one little disclaimer, one little thing. You saw that I listed Morgan and Peace dollars, and they are 90% silver, no doubt, no question. But most folks don't stack those, they collect them. And any silver dollars in decent shape they're usually going to carry a premium above and beyond what a generic ounce of silver would give you. You also have to consider that the Barbers and the Standing Liberties, those are typically going to have a premium as well due to their age and increasing rarity. And this keeps most 90% stackers sticking with the later coins for the better value. Another cool thing is the fact that we can easily calculate the silver content of these coins because they do have an assigned silver content, a certain amount, like I alluded to earlier. So you could take a dollar face value of silver coins and figure on having 0.715 troy ounces of silver. That's just what it calculates to. Now, if you'd like to round that out to a full ounce, you're going to need about $1.40 face value of average circulated condition coins to equal that full troy ounce. So maybe two 50-cent pieces and 4 dimes, 4 Merc dimes, something like that. Now, for me personally, you guys that know me, you guys know I'm a Merc nut. I love them, and I'm working on finishing my second monster box of tubes right now. And if you were to buy a full tube of Mercuries or 50 dimes, that'd give you, what, $5 face value, which would give you a total of 3.76 ounces of silver. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a little ADHD when it comes to numbers in silver and ounces. So I like to round things out. So for every tube of Mercs I buy, I pick up 6 loose Mercs. So 6 dimes will equal 0.4338 ounces of silver. Add that to our 3.76 ounces from the tube, and voila! You have a touch over 4 ounces of silver. Look, I'm just a little bit crazy that way. I like to live my life in full numbers versus fractionals when I'm dealing with silver, if it's at all possible. All right, really quickly, let's go over the pros and cons of stacking 90% silver, starting with the pros. Number 1, this is great fractional silver, folks. They're very liquid, very divisible, and they could come in handy in the recovery stage of a future SHTF scenario. You can take all those fake-looking 1-gram prepper bags of silver that you want. Can't stand them personally. I'm going to choose to stick to real fractional silver with lower premiums, and 90% fits the bill. Number 2, they're easily recognizable as something different due to most of these designs being out of production. The exceptions, of course, being the Washington Quarter and Roosevelt Dimes, since those are still being produced today. Number 3, these contain a known amount of silver, like we talked about, as long as they're in average circulated condition. Number 4, they're still an official U.S. currency with face value. So, no matter what happens to silver, 90% coins will always be worth at least, we hope it doesn't come down to this, but at least the face value stamped on them. Number 5, they're increasingly rare. Now, estimates claim that anywhere from 90 to 95% of junk silver, constitutional 90%, has already been melted. 90 to 95% overall. That still leaves a lot of silver coins to be stacked, folks. There's no shortage. But look, these are never being made again. When they're gone forever. And lastly, number 6, they have historical value. If only these coins could talk, right? Especially the Morgans. My goodness. You hold them in your hand and you think about the history and the people who once used them as normal currency. I mean, how cool is that? And just like everything else in life, there are a few cons against stacking 90% silver. Number 1, they're not 100% silver, obviously, since the silver content is 90% or 40% or 35% in the cases of war nickels. That turns off a lot of stackers since they want their silver to be pure and nothing else. Number 2, the silver content isn't labeled, so like the denomination is, so there's no indication that these coins even have silver content, right? You'd be amazed at how many folks in the U.S. don't even know that a 1945 to 1964 Roosevelt dime is made up of mostly silver. They don't know. They just see that it's a common design still in production today and don't even think twice about it. If they were to get one in their circulated change, they wouldn't even think anything about it. Number 3, a lot of them are worn out, which does lower the silver content. And this can be an issue because they'll be considered cull coins at that point if they're too done. And we've all seen some paper-thin barber dimes out there as an example. I know you have. Number 4, they're dirty as hell most times. Really dirty. Let's face it, in many cases, this is the oil, dirt, and grime of U.S. history over the years. Human hands have left this grime. Now, granted, that's historical grime, but still, not everyone likes filthy silver. It is what it is. And lastly, number 5, it's not ideal for storage. Look, this stuff is heavy. It's heavy. A monster box of dimes it weighs a ton. So you know you're carrying some weight. And it can take up a lot of space if you're stacking even a decent amount of this stuff, really. Put it in perspective. Just to get 1,000 ounces of silver would require, get this, 13,824 dimes to get 1,000 ounces of silver. And then you got to verify that they're all 1964 and below on top of that. All right, folks, there you have it. So I've given you reasons that 90% silver is great to stack and reasons that it's maybe not so great. But in the end, Only you can decide if it's right for you. Personally, I'm invested in the stuff. I have several hundred ounces stacked away, mostly in dimes. I don't count my Morgans since I'm filling an album of those versus stacking. I mean, that's a completely different kind of 90% silver. Anyway, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are. What do you love about 90% silver? What do you hate about it? You guys know I love going through the comments, so make sure you sound off. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. And if you made it this far, well, kudos to you. I'll definitely catch up with you in the next episode. But in the meantime, oh yeah, you know what's up.
What do you want to do with your life?
I want to stack.
Damn right. Get stacked. Stay safe and be well, everyone. Have a fantastic and safe week ahead. I am out of here. Peace, folks. Be sure to tune in Wednesday night on my channel for Stacker's Corner Live. Hope to see you there. Take care.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Oh, yes. And what was that beginning, middle, and end part again?